Hey, we're Saints. Father Chris here. Welcome to our Crucifixional Lifestream. Glad to have you beautiful people with us. I gave a sermon a few weeks ago on the idea of once saved, always saved. It was, a refutation of some, Protestant misunderstandings that salvation is, eternal, like it's for eternal perpetuity, and that somehow God won't judge or cast us out. And forgive me, but I think I did a pretty good job. It was well done. And on our YouTube channel, one of our viewers posted that we made a mistake and wrong, and it was like this whole like you stupid Orthodox and blah blah blah, and made the comment whatever, and somebody else responded, wow, it doesn't look like you watched the video. And he says, listen, he's like, well, the fact that he was wrong from the first sentence, I didn't need to watch it any further. I was like, all right. So my blood was boiling, because like, come on, man, like, only salvation only comes from Christ himself. You and I can't save ourselves. But once we have that salvation, we must maintain that position through the life we live. And God will judge us at the end of time based on how we live that life. But the guy didn't watch the video, didn't know that that's what we said, and his theology is, a little skewed, bro. I know you need some hugs, right? But it just is what it is. All of that rambling to say this. My temptation was to like get in his face, because he was like in my face, and I'm going to like show him and, call him names and all this kind of stuff. And I thought to myself, this is not a conversation that's worth it. I'm not going to change his theology. I don't want to change his theology. I mean, he's got to figure that out on his own, whoever he may be. I don't, therefore, want to get sucked into the trap of having these factious conversations, especially on the internet, when there's really no value there, right? And so it reminded me that not every conversation needs to be had. The temptation that you and I face, and I do too as a warrior saint, is to have every conversation. If somebody says something, you respond. It's as simple as if, hey, what time is it? Right? When someone asks you what time it is, you reflexively look at your watch, because that's just what we're trained to do. Likewise, with these factious conversations, or just any conversation that may be of no value, like we just are programmed to respond. And I say, no, not every conversation needs to be had. Some are important, some we must. But not every single time somebody says something, especially if it rouses up, needs to be thoroughly developed, right? You can let some things go. Because if you are striving to be a warrior saint, which means in truth you are striving to be an exceptional man or woman, you don't have time for garbage and BS. You've got to get your stuff done. You've got to do your work, your business. You need to be focusing on the one thing that you can do to better yourself, better your family, better your life, better the world, right? I mean, we don't have time for silliness. And especially if it's factious, when I say factious, I mean like, those who want to fight and stir the pot. I mean, there's people out there who deliberately try to bait you in with these, harsh and nasty argumentation. St. Paul tells us in the letter to Titus that do not get involved in these stupid controversies or genealogies, right? That's what he calls them. Then he says, and as for someone who's factious, after admonishing him, trying to teach and correct him once or twice, have nothing more to do with him. He is sinful, and he's self-condemned, right? Like, so if somebody is like this and you've tried, then it's enough. Move on, because it's going to suck you into that rabbit hole as well. Now, how do you do that? Not always so easy, but it's always super clear. First thing I always say, and I'm not good at it, but I'm telling you because I know it works and I'm trying it, is the 3-second rule. And this covers a multitude of conversation tactics. Like when you're speaking with somebody, it helps you not to jump in. When someone's throwing you factious stuff, it helps you not to respond. And the 3-second rule is pretty simple. That when someone is speaking, pause for 3 seconds before you respond. Now in that 3 second, you're giving yourself a buffer. Number one is that you can decide, do I even want to engage this conversation? Number two, you let the person know that he or she has been heard, right? And that you're not just waiting your turn to speak, but that you're listening. You're actually listening. And the third part of it is that it gives you space, not just to decide if you want to respond, but what you might respond. And you can think about your response. Is it kind? Is it necessary? Is it truthful, right? Rather than just saying the first thing that jumps into your mind. That 3-second rule is really important for warrior saints. Something you should master. I struggle every day to master it, and I lose, but I'm fighting, baby. I'm fighting for it. If you want to learn how to understand If you want to learn how what's the word I'm looking for? Propagate, instigate, use. If you want to use the 3-second rule, visit warriorsaints.org. We got a lot of institute. We got a lot of good stuff on how to do that, how to communicate with other people. Also, we have great lessons called Not Every Conversation, which is exactly what we're talking about today. And we get other tools on how we can avoid getting ourselves into these factious conversations that are of no value. Love you, beautiful people. Join us on the way of the warrior saint. Let's strive to be better men and women. God will help you do that. We will teach you what he says. Then all you got to do is implement. Love you. We'll be back tomorrow. As always, keep walking on the way of the warrior saint.